Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for some technical complication. I take my mobile because I want to check my time. Okay, the title of my presentation is Autonomous Vehicles, the Challenge for the Future or the Challenge for Today. And autonomous vehicles, this is a very interesting topic. We talk about it many times. This is element, the question is it element of our future? Or we can say that we have autonomous vehicles in different mode of transport now. So, in my agenda, first, I want to say something about EU regulations related to autonomous vehicles. Next, I will go to stage of development, considering different modes of transport. And I'd like to ask the question, are you ready? Are you ready for this revolution? Okay. In EU regulations, for a long time, we didn't have any regulation in European Union about autonomous vehicles. Now, in a document from 2019, we've got a definition of automated vehicle and fully automated vehicle. Automated vehicle, this is vehicle with autonomous components, but this vehicle has to be supervised by driver. We have driver in this car because the driver has to have the possibility to take control on this vehicle. In case of fully autonomous vehicles, we don't need a driver. That's the regulation. But when we look at this regulation, we can see that these regulations are related mostly to motor vehicles. It means to cars. But also we've got autonomous vehicles in many other modes of transport, or generally we have in all of them. And I want to tell you something about the present state of that, and I want to show you what is the situation, where we are. I'm from Maritime University, so I will start with water transport. But honestly, this is not the reason that I'm from Maritime University. The reason is that water transport, in my opinion, is the element of the future. At the moment, we haven't got fully autonomous ships, vessels on the water, but we have a lot of experiments. You can see at these pictures, we've got some implementations, we've got some activities related to that, we've got a lot of analysis, we've got some reports. According to them, in 2030, autonomous ships market will increase to $8.2 billion US dollars. This is huge market. I think that this is element of the future of shipping for many reasons. For example, if we consider a very problematic situation with pirates on the water, in case of autonomous vehicles, I don't want to say that there will be no catching the ships, but ships will be safe for the crew because we haven't got the crew on board. That's the point. And we will not lose people in this accident. Also, our university made some experiences related to autonomous vessels. It's interesting because on one hand, we have lectures related to the crew, to the captains, to the officers, but on the other hand, we do some activities related to autonomous vehicles, and we can say that we will reduce the number of crews on ships. So, but I think that this is the future. At the moment, we've got the concept. You can see on the slide on the left the concept of the ship. But on the right, you can see the test of the first model of this ship. This is model. This is a reduction model. This is very small, but we wanted to test, to analyze the efficiency, the possibilities of control of this ship. This ship was analyzed also in interaction between the environment, but this is still model. What will happen in the future? Kalmar company, this is part of Cargotec company, international company, very big. They prepared the vision of port 2060. The vision of this port is that it will be fully autonomous port, including cargo movement. They plan on the right, you can see the Hyperloop for containers transportation. And also they expect that during this time we will have autonomous vessels and we will not need people there. But this is the vision of the future. But when we look at the present time, we can look at rail transport. In rail transport, we did much bigger step ahead. In rail transport, we've got a lot of experiences related to autonomous vehicles, like that one on the pictures from Frankfurt Airport, Shinkansen trains in Japan. This is also autonomous vehicles at the moment, was tested. And it's much easier to organize autonomous vehicles in metro, in subway, because in metro case, we've got the train in the separated area. This train is separated from the environment. So we haven't got any interaction between train and environment. You know what I mean? This is a big problem for typical train. But in metro, it's much easier. So in that way, we are able to implement autonomous trains in metro system. So we can see the Sydney example and also Nuremberg, U-Bahn. At the moment, as I remember, we have 6 fully autonomous metros in Europe. In train, we've got the grades of train automation from the first level, where we need drivers, to the 4th level, where we don't need any driver. These trains are able to work fully automatically, without any support from the human. Okay, when we are talking about train, let's look at some combination of train system and private transport. Do you know what is it? This is very interesting concept called PRT. PRT, this is personal rapid transport. This is, on the one hand, we have the transport system which use the separate rail system, separate roads. But on the other hand, this is personal transport. We have small wagon for 4-6 persons, and this wagon goes from the point of start to the destination. We haven't got any stops. We haven't got any additional person in train or in this wagon. I don't know. It's hard to call it car. But what do you think? Is it the future or is it the reality? On the one hand, when you look at the Heathrow Airport, they tested. Of course, when we looked at the picture above, we can see the Warsaw concept. Of course, this is just concept. We haven't got an implementation of this system at the moment, but this is very interesting experiment, because we can call it experiment. Masdar City. Masdar City, this is the city on desert, between completely nothing. The idea of this city is to have truly independent city, independent in context of environment. The city should have their own water, their own energy. They recirculate water and energy. And in this system, it will be the first city of the world without private cars. The system of the city, it works at the moment. It works. In this city, they use PTV. You can see that on the screen above. And also they use autonomous shuttle buses. And the third element of the transportation structure in the city is electric buses. Electric buses are for a bigger number of passengers, and they work on longer distances between districts of the city. But PRT is used for communication at the area of the district. It's for 4 persons and 2 children, as I yes, for 2 children. This is very small. But in that way, we came to individual transport, to cars. What can we say? At the moment, the Society of Automotive Engineers prepared 6 levels of autonomization, of autonomous driving. 0 level, there are no any support for the driver. The first level, this is the support, and we have it in our cars at the moment. This is the system of autonomous parking, for example. I have it in my car. I bought this car a few years ago, and this is not a big deal to have this system. If you will ask me how many times did you use, I will say, I don't know. But I have it. I'm happy. But we can say that this is element of autonomous system. And this is the level 1. When we look at the level 2, look at the pictures. This is very important. When you look at the picture at level 2, you will see that hands are just a little bit shy. Yes, you know what I mean. What does it mean? It means that on the 2nd level, we don't need to put our hands on the wheel. Yes, we don't need to drive the car. But when you look at the eye, we have to look around. We have to check the situation on the road, because we are driver, we are still driver, and we have to be able to take the control. When you look at the level 3, we can see that eye is also on gray. What does it mean? It means that we can turn on the autopilot. We don't need to put our hands on the wheel. We don't need to look around. We can, for example, read. We can sleep. We can relax. Do you think that we have it at the moment? On one hand, we have. On the other hand, we haven't got, because we have some experiments with that. We made some tests of this system. For example, Mercedes, I will show you on the next picture that Mercedes implemented this system. But at the moment, we didn't implement it in fully on the roads. But what will happen on 4th level? On 4th level, we haven't got a driver. But on 4th level, what is the difference between the 4th and 5th level? In 4th level, where the car can go on the road where we can have some special conditions. But on 5th level, this car can go everywhere. We don't need any special conditions. We don't need any special system. We don't need special communication, for example, vehicle to infrastructure. So we can use this car everywhere. And for sure, this is the future. But the question is at the moment, no, if we will implement autonomous vehicles to our system, transportation system, the question is when. We are sure that we will have in the future autonomous vehicles. But we don't know when. We have some analysis. Sorry, this figure is in Polish, but I think that it's very easy to understand. we have the level 0, we have the level 1. We can say that we have level 2, 3 almost, but we expect that in 10, maybe 20 years, we will have level 4 and 5 fully implemented on our roads. So when we look at some examples, we can say that almost all automotive companies implemented some ideas of autonomous vehicles. We have a lot of them. You can see some interesting experiments in this slide. When you look at the bottom right, you can see the truck from Mercedes. This truck is equipped in autopilot. You can see the movie in internet when you can see the driver turn on the autopilot. The chair moves out from the wheel, and he's able to read, to do something, to relax. Look at that examples. This is very interesting. On the left, you can see the truck, which was experimentally used in Sweden. This is the Swedish concept. And this is remote driver truck. And you can see you can sit in your office, you can see everything on your screen, and you are able to remotely drive this vehicle. But on the right, you can see something interesting. This is very interesting from my perspective, because some of you know that my specialization is urban freight transport. And this vehicle on right, this is, as I remember, from Estonia. I'm not sure, maybe from Lithuania or Latvia, probably from Estonia. This vehicle, autonomous vehicle, is for deliveries. This is system to deliver the parcels to the parcels machines. Not to the person, but to the parcels machines. Very interesting. When we are talking about deliveries, let's look at last mile logistics, very last mile logistics. We had a lot of experiments in Europe, including also in Poland, but not only in Europe. You can see at the top the Amazon vehicle. On the right, you can see FedEx. I suppose that we can expect that very fast we will find some this system on our streets. At the moment, we've got some experiment with, for example, pizza delivery. There are some pizzerias with this system. We've got very interesting question here. What is the interaction between these small vehicles and pedestrians? Because this is very interesting. Okay. When we are talking about deliveries, probably you know that we had some experiments with drones deliveries. But honestly, I know that Amazon made some experiments. They are very optimistic, but for example, from our colleagues from DPD, we know that they did the same, and these experiments were not so optimistic. At the moment, probably we are not ready for implementation of this, but Amazon has very amazing idea. Look at the picture on the right. This is the warehouse. The warehouse on the sky. That's absolutely amazing, but this is, of course, the concept. When we are talking about sky, when we are talking about air, let's look at these activities. What do you think about that? At the moment, in China, there are a lot of companies to try to implement these systems. My opinion is that Chinese will be the first one of the world who will be able to implement this system in the cities. They did a lot. At the moment, they try to implement some regulations related to that. But in this system, we have a lot of questions. But look, when we look at this, at the implementation problem from the perspective of present transportation system, we can say that it is much harder to implement autonomous cars than to implement autonomous passenger drones. Why? Because in the second option, we do it completely from nothing. We start from the empty space. We will start to implement the system from the beginning. But if we will implement, for example, autonomous taxis, cars, then we have to implement the system. We have to implement it in the present system. And the problem of communication and transportation will be between driverless cars and cars fully operated by driver, because we are not able to prepare the algorithms which will be ready for all stupid actions made by humans. We have to say that. Okay, so are we ready for this revolution or not? Why we need autonomous vehicles? For sure, we want to reduce the time of preparation and implementation of processes. This is a very important topic, and autonomous vehicles will be able to help us. Increasing the process efficiency, definitely. For example, when we look at deliveries, autonomous vehicles can be very efficient because, for example, we can arrange deliveries in the evening. This is a typical problem with couriers, because couriers has the time period from, let's say, 8 to 4 p.m. And between this period, they want to deliver the parcels. But in this period, at the same time, we are at work. And I can't take my parcel because I'm work, and I have the call from courier. Hello, I've got the parcel for you. And I say to courier, okay, but I'm at work. And courier say, me too. This is the problematic situation. But when we have autonomous vehicles, we can arrange this delivery aftermarket. It will be much easier. Okay. Fast and flexible response to market needs, achieving planned timelines of product deliveries to the market. And very important topic, increasing the user safety. We can say that autonomous systems will be very safe for passengers, but this is a very important question. Will it be safe or not? Look at that picture. This is the accident in Florida. This is an accident with Tesla. Tesla doesn't stop hitting the trailer and traveling under it. Of course, driver was died. It was one of the biggest accidents with driverless vehicles. Of course, in this vehicle, there was a driver, but the driver turned on the autopilot and they didn't analyze the situation on the road. And the system was not able to identify the trailer on the road. And we have some accidents like that. So we have challenges like safety of interaction of autonomous systems with the environment, with the other cars, for example. Safety of users in interaction with the autonomous systems. Do we want to use autonomous systems? Will we say safe? For example, if I will say to my mom, she's 8 years old, my mom, I have a car for you. This is driverless car. You can use it. I'm not sure if she will not, if she will want, because she will not believe in this car, in this system without driver, without person, without human. Okay, safety of access to autonomous system. And with this topic, we have the other element, cybersecurity. These systems will be very safe if we will have good cybersecurity systems. Because the biggest problem in autonomous vehicles is the situation when somebody will catch our system, will take the control on our system. That's the point. Okay, the other not answered questions. Who will take the responsibility for the accidents? At the moment, Volvo is the only one company at the world who said, we will take that. Nobody did it yet. But this is a very important problem. Who is the responsibility for that? Will the manufacturer guarantee that the system will operate efficiently through its entire lifespan? For for whole time of the usability of the system. And the other question, who will guarantee the security of the data in the system? That's the next point without answer at the moment. So, summarizing. Are we ready for revolution? Technologically, absolutely yes. We are ready. We have technology. We are able to implement autonomous vehicles to our roads even now. But at the moment, we need law, we need knowledge, we need mentality, we need management, we need organization of the system, and we have to find the answers for the questions which I'll show you previously. So, in my opinion, summarizing, the implementation of autonomous vehicles, this is the future, very close future. And I believe that we will have this system on our roads, in our cities. We will have this system above our heads. But we have to start think about these issues just now, not later. Because many times you have the problem that technology is many steps before the other topics. For example, before law. We have this problem with social media. We haven't got so many problems with social media now if we make some law activities 5 or 10 years in the past. We've got the same in autonomous vehicles. We have to prepare good law, good management, good organization, and we have to prepare the knowledge for this systems of the future. Okay, thank you very much.
Question. May I ask?
Yeah, sure.
I would ask you regarding, let's come back to our project, because our project is for students. And the question is, a lot of moments which are connected with automotive transport is connected with technical element. So engineers who can solve problems, who can create decision for technical. But we are working mostly with, I wouldn't say with management, but let's say with people who don't create this mechanic, but maybe the general who works with transport system in general. So which knowledge, as you said, knowledge is one of the crucial questions, which knowledge can be useful for them to implement and to go in future with
This is not easy question. This presentation is important, in my opinion, or discussion about this topic. It's important to prepare the people who will have the competences to manage autonomous vehicles. And regarding knowledge, for example, the first one is how to connect driverless system and system with using drivers, and the present transportation system and future transportation system. The other things is, if we want to implement, for example, drones in transport of goods or passenger transport, we need the knowledge how to arrange it. In what manner the system will be environmental friendly, for example. Because on one hand, we can say, okay, the system is, this is electric, there are electric vehicles. But it doesn't mean that these vehicles not produce any pollution, including noise. how to solve it. I think that when we look at mentality, this is also, I think that all these elements could be covered by knowledge, because we need the knowledge regarding law. We need the knowledge regarding mentality. We need the knowledge how to prepare people to use the system. When we look, for example, at production systems, at the moment we are talking about co-robots. It means cooperative robots. What does it mean? This is very important because we are in the time when robots will work with people, with humans. And we have to prepare robots in that way that the system will be real-time, in real-time interaction with the environment. It means that when me as a human will do something stupid, I will put my hand to the place which is forbidden for me. The system, for example, will stop. The reaction of the system will be prepared in that way to save the human, to support the human. And we will have robots in many activities. At the moment, for example, as I remember, Samsung implemented the robot for house activities with the arm, and this robot is able to prepare tea, for example, or coffee, if you prefer coffee. This robot is able to put the cup into the wash machine. The robot is able to take something from the shelf. And I think that we can expect these activities, this system also in our houses. So when we back to the transportation system, we've got a lot of elements of knowledge, starting from the sociological problems, finishing at the law problems, at management problems. The question is how to manage it, how to manage the system. So I think that all these blocks should be included in knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge can solve all
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.